Hi, I'm Krystal.
And I'm Kayla.
And this is Books and Bullshit.
Today we are going to be talking about Quicksilver. If you have not read the book and you do not wish to have anything spoiled for you, we recommend coming back after you have read the book because we will be giving spoilers today.
Okay.
And so this is the cover. Pretty Shadow Daddy. The book does come with a map and a pronunciation guide. 2 full pages.
Okay. It has 45 chapters total. And I gave it an overall star rating of 2.5 out of 5 stars.
I gave it 3. A lot of things that I liked and then did not like about this book.
Yeah, I mean, for the likability of characters, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars just because, I mean, Kingfisher grows on you as you read the book, and Carrie and Swift carried the whole novel.
Carrie and Swift can have my heart. I'm not going to lie. That man, comic relief.
Best side character energy.
He kept things going, I'm not going to lie. The main female character, I liked her in the beginning. She kind of... there wasn't enough growth, I feel like, but I also just don't like how she was written by the end.
Yeah,
it made her feel stupid.
Just kind of like blown in the wind energy. She's not there because she wants to be there. She's there because circumstances carried her there.
And then whenever she asks questions, they make her think she's stupid, but they are valid questions sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, I didn't grow up in your world, so I don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, it was awful. I felt like the ability to hold a plot was probably about a 2 out of 5, simply because you spent like 3/4 of the book guessing what was going on, and then you just got bombarded with like information after information after information so quickly that you were almost wishing the book just was over.
There was a lot of stuff thrown at you right at the end, whereas I feel like it would have been better if they had answered a few questions throughout. Some of the answers were just so simple, and I was like, how did they not try that? Like, the fact for her to make, like, amulets and to use the quicksilver, all she had to do was talk to it.
Just ask it.
And then the whole book, the thing is talking to her.
Yeah, we'll strike a bargain.
She just never even tries to talk to it until Carrie and Swift is like, have you tried, I don't know, fucking talking to it?
You know,
it talks to you.
The god of the book. For smuttiness, I said a 2 out of 5 simply because when it did happen, it just went from like, oh, we hate each other and I want nothing to do with you and you're the sole reason I'm stuck here, to I can fuck you and hate you, to like, oh, I'm in love with you and I'd go to the ends of the earth for you, so quickly that it felt like whiplash. And then like the sex scenes were just so lackluster at the end of it.
Yeah,
For such a dark character, he made such sweet, soft, slow love to her.
There wasn't enough hate sex in the beginning for it to really feel truly enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
It felt...
There was more sexual tension between the main character and Carrion than there was between her and Kingfisher.
I feel like if we had gotten some things from Fisher's point of view, that might have been resolved with that. Like, we could have been able to be like, oh, yeah, this is how he views her, but it's so much from her perspective that how she perceives him.
It made no sense.
Real connection there.
She had more easy-flowing banter with the scenes we had between her and Carrion than we did her and Kingfisher.
Yes. And I don't know, it wasn't a great book. It wasn't a bad book.
It just wasn't...
But it wasn't great either.
I'm going to read the second one, but it didn't leave me on the edge of my seat where I'm sitting here and I'm like, I got to count down the days till book 2 comes out because I'm so excited. And there's novels I've read that, like, I'm sitting here and I'm stalking the date for a release date, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
You're like, when does this book come out?
Oh, yeah. It's like I've spent the last, like, 3-4 years fully dedicated to Erica Woods' writer group. Simply because I just, like, please any morsel for book 3 and I'd be pleased. And I don't feel that way here.
I'm going to read book 2, mainly because I kind of want to know how the gods play into this, because, like, that's something.
It's a good element.
It's something she threw in at the end that does make me want to read the second book, because I'm kind of like, is the god of chaos the only one who's like?
It's like fishing. She baited you.
She baited you because I'm like, are the gods in a power play with each other, and they're using the mortals as their instruments to fight a war amongst themselves?
See, that'd be a cool concept. You know, I'm really hoping that book 1 is meant to be the layout for the rest of the series, and maybe that's why it dragged so much.
The book's just so long. I feel like I got through to page about 300, and then from 300 onwards until about, like, the last few chapters, I was forcing myself to
it's like I said, whenever Everlane got taken by the vampires, which don't get me started. That should have been the end of the book. It left it to where that end build-up made you feel like you were finally getting things, but then everything else that came after kind of just felt like giving you more information without answering information you had already been given. It felt like all of the answers the book could give us for that book were given up till that point, and then it would have been great for book 2.
My biggest question, too, is those 3, Madra, the king, whatever, the vampire king. I already forgot their fucking names. That's how much I gave a shit about this book. Hold on. Balkan. That was his name.
Balkan was the Fey King.
Malcolm was the vampire. It's coming back. It's coming there.
The thing that got me about the 3 of them is it said at one point, oh, you can't kill one of us without killing all 3 of us. And then Malcolm drank Carrion's blood, and Carrion was like, aha, I'm a Fey, actually. And now I'm the Fey that made the curse that turned Fey into vampires. Yeah. And then he died.
So I'm wondering if it's like one of those, like, the curse blood overrules whatever not quartet, because that's for, what's the word I'm looking for? Triangle these 3 people have going
Thruple.
Like, power, because, like, I know that there's some sort of power of, you know, you have to kill all 3 of them at the same time for them to die, but I'm wondering if because Malcolm drank the blood of the curse.
Did that poison the other 2 then?
Right, I'm like, does that curse magic override
Too many
the
questions.
Other magic? Because there has to be some sort of hierarchy to this magic based upon that, but what is the hierarchy?
Also, if she can talk to the Quicksilver, can she sit there now that she's at how the end of the book 1 ends? Is she going to sit there and just go to the Quicksilver pool and be like, hey, homie, I got like 15,000 relics here. Can you hook it up?
What do I gotta
Does the pool get smaller?
What eventually is she gonna have to give for it to all?
Firstborn child. Rumpelstiltskin styles Quicksilver.
Honestly, I'd do it.
You know, I mean, I felt like the beginning of the book where they gave all the details for Madra City, the 5 spokes or whatever, and all of that. There were so many details of, you know, these walls that divide the sectors, and it's all sand, and it's windblown, and, you know, structures fall if the wind flows just the right way. You're getting all these details like that. And then the way Ylvania is described, it's very much like there's trees.
She spent 3/4 of the fucking book in Ylvania, and I feel like I know more about Madra City than I do about Ylvania, like about like what it looks like,
and like, the environment, the water struggle, what the people are going through. I can
tell you about Balkan's castle and the Kemp Tamp that they were in.
Yeah,
kind of.
And it's not for a lack of going places, because it's not even necessarily like, oh, we need you to take us a bunch of different places and describe them. So we feel like what the land lays out, it's like, even if with the camp, you know what like the forge looks like, what Kingfisher's tent looks like,
But, like,
what, like, the war room looks like. But you don't know the layout of the camp too well.
They had fight scenes where they were fighting the vampires, so she clearly had to walk through the tent scene, like, all
and they're
tents.
like, we just rushed through so fast.
But bitch, you walk to the forge every day.
Yeah, and it's just, like, there's no details of, like, oh, the tents were laid out like a small city. You get, like, oh, it's a small village. It's kind of like this. Oh, you can kind of tell that this structure is supposed to be a tavern, but not the details of, like, oh, you know, it's been here so long that structures have been built up, and this is what they're made out of a little bit. You know, oh, they're wood, they're stone, they're this. It's just like, oh, you can tell this camp's been here long enough that permanent structures have been built. You can see them in the distance.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that building we landed by when we first came here, yeah, that was a tavern. I'm allude to the fact that I'm there regularly, but you don't get to know what it looks like.
Nope. We're there, but we're not there.
You know, and for a fantasy book, you need more detail. And it's kind of like how it got caught up. You know, you get so much from the main character, and she has all these questions and everything, but with nobody giving her answers and her not knowing anything, you're left so in the dark that you're almost more blind than the main character, because at least they have eyes to see.
My issue, though, is, too, like, with the whole kingfisher thing, he was like, I'll give you answers. Bitch, no, you didn't, though.
No, there was not. There was a couple, I hate you. I think you're pathetic.
Also, her trying to escape through the quicksilver in the beginning when she was in Vulcan's castle, I feel like it would have been nice if there had been a little bit more lead up to that. Like, from the reading standpoint, like, of, like, being like, you know, she took the backpack and she kind of formulated a plan about how she was going to try and steal his ring and all this other stuff. All we get is, like, a makeout session, and then she's running through the castle.
He's like, you don't mind waiting for Renfris, right? Oh, yeah, no, I don't mind waiting. No lead-up of, like, making a plan or anything. Like, it almost seemed like she was settling in and trying to get information before she escaped, and then all of a sudden, wait, no, we're in an escape plan, and it's been being formulated because she's got a sack full of food, she's got water, she's got supplies.
Also, for somebody who grew up in Madra City, who grew up stealing water, who grew up kind of within the rebellion when it was going on, who was portrayed to be street smart, why was it when she got to Yolvania and she's going to do her escape plan, she took her fucking pack with her?
Yeah, like for a girl who is sneaky, who's supposed to be stealing from water reserves her whole life.
She brought, like, I'm sorry, like, if I'm trying to escape and I don't want anybody to know, I'm not bringing my supplies with me. I'm stashing them somewhere close by, but hidden. Bitch, you ain't gonna know I'm trying to leave until I'm leaving.
Exactly. Like, you have to walk from a whole set of rooms through a castle to a forge, and you're telling me there wasn't anywhere, like, halfway down a hallway that you could have stacked that behind some sort of fucking statue. You're in a castle!
Or better yet, I'm gonna pretend I'm going to sleep. Yeah, you can walk me to my room. I'm done for the day. Yeah, walk me there.
I'm going to bed.
I'm going to bed. Let him walk me to my room.
Well, I mean, I guess there was guards posted outside her room, and I guess, yeah, but, you know, still, you could have hidden it somewhere along the way. And just, there should have been more build-up. It's a book that would have been, the justice that could have been done to the book is if you had either a third-party point of view written for the book to where you're watching the story unfold, not from a first-person perspective, but from third-party perspective, or if they had alternated points of view between the key players, because even like having even just a couple chapters from Carrion in there would have given you insight. Giving you a couple chapters from Renfris or Kingfisher or literally anyone would have at least given you enough insight to make you, the reader, feel like you were in on it. And books aren't supposed to make you feel so in the dark that you feel like you're being left out of the book.
Yeah. It just...
You know. So 2.5 stars, because I had to read a whole nother book while reading this book to get through it.
I powered through, what can I say?
No, I need a little treatsy treat. Read a couple chapters, you get a good chapter. What a good reader you are.
Here, have a reward. You read...
Yeah, I'm incentive based, so at the end of the day, I gotta kind of, you know. But it's just... It sucks because there's so much potential, and I hate when a book has potential. You can tell it's really good. You can tell that if they'd just taken a little bit more time to switch perspectives or give you that third-party point of view or just cut it off at a certain point or gave you more answers here or there throughout the book, you would have been 10 times more interested in it, and those little things can really be the difference between you loving a book and you going, oh, well, I'll try number 2. This is supposed to be a series. They're going to be more than 2 books.
I don't even know. I'm like, yeah.
I don't know how it's going to be a series, but you can tell. It's either shaping up to be a series or book 2 about to be the thickest bad boy in the universe. She thick. She
chunky.
At least it'll do damage when I throw it. Please be good. Please be good.
Fingers crossed it's good. You know, everything considered, it's not a terrible book. I have read worse.
Yeah, I've definitely read books.
I've read better.
I've definitely read books, I said. I've definitely read worse. I've read a lot of books.
And I just, for the main thing being that the devil's in the details, I wish that there had been more details. Like, I would rather have had this storyline spread out through 2 books with way more details put in to
especially
each book.
Even if it was just giving you details. The main character doesn't necessarily always need to be given facts for you to be given crumbs that get you to start formulating what's going on.
There are ways to write it where, but the main character is still in the dark. Yeah. And that would have been nice.
The main character is a character that definitely, lives on you at first, and then by the end of the book, you're like, you could not be a main character in this series anymore, and it could go on without you a little bit. Because all they need is another alchemy person, and the only reason she ends up with importance by the end of the book that makes her more special is that she's stronger than any other alchemist they've ever seen, ever.
And the god picked her,
even though they haven't seen one in 1,000 years.
Yeah. But all the things they have written down about the alchemist, she's the strongest.
And I feel like the answer, because the god's like, oh, well, Kingfisher is my champion, and you're his soulmate, and I tried to divide you guys, but it's clearly not going to work, so now I'm just going to God bless you and make you into something the world has never seen before. So now you're both a vampire and a fae, except vampires are fae. They're just fae affected by a blood curse that they refuse to heal. So really, you're just a fae and a fae.
Yes.
And that solves so many answers for why you're so drawn to Kingfisher and why your bond is the way it is and all of these things. And it's like Kingfisher grows on you. I will say that.
He does. And what I didn't like was how he was like, I had tried to keep you guys separate because in every way, when you guys got together, you ruined the world and you killed my tree and all these other worlds disintegrated, so the other gods were just going to kill you guys, so I just separated you, but now if you don't want to be seen by us and you want your fate to be your own fate, I have to make you into something new.
I just ended up so confused.
Now because I got places to be.
Well, yeah, especially because, the quicksilver is sentient, but it's also a river for the gods, but it was the god who was talking to her through the quicksilver all the time. So really the god was controlling the quicksilver going into the relics, but now she can't be seen by the gods, so can she not control the quicksilver anymore because the gods aren't talking to her through it because she's now something else? Too many questions!
Also, the quicksilver has multiple voices, so it makes you think that there's it's
very,
very sentient.
And then multiple. They gave you a one-line expert that's like, oh, by the way, you can also control these other metals. Oh, and all the elements because you're just the mega powerfulest alchemist ever. And this is why there's just no chance that we could try to go find a different alchemist in Madras City. Why we need you. And it was stuff thrown in to make the main character actually important because based on some of the stuff they'd been saying to her through the book, oh, well, I'm sure there's been plenty of other people who can control metal born, but normally they're hunted down and killed, would speak that there's other alchemists still in Madras City that are actively ready to be able to be trained. So why is the main character so important?
Even the gods said that there was thousands of alchemists, even hundreds in her city. Alone. Because an alchemist doesn't have to just be metal born. It's any of it. And he was saying that there's multiple.
It just...
I wish I had nicer things.
The magic aspect doesn't do magic fantasy well.
I wish their magic system was more fleshed out in detail and explained to you.
It's a book that tried too hard to world build while also still trying to be like that typical easy read 300-page smut.
Yeah. And it was neither.
It's like 2 books tried to have a baby and made an ugly baby. But it's like still cute because it's like a fucking baby and you love cuddling babies and like everybody loves a baby, but like ugly babies exist. It's an ugly baby.
Yeah.
Another point that made me annoyed that her marks only showed up after sex. Her alchemy marks specifically, not the mate bond ones. Those were cool.
Fine. That's fine. But I feel like for the alchemy bonds...
She should have gotten one when she first activated the quicksilver. She should have gotten another one the first time she was able to control it, another one.
Yes, because if it's an alchemy mark, it should have been given to her when she was doing...
No, it's all diddle-based. We get everything we want from a man, clearly.
His dick was so good, all her marks started coming in. But they made it seem like she got all those marks because his marks... went from him onto her skin. Okay, well, that would have been fine for the mate mark, but her alchemy mark should have been different.
Those should have come from doing alchemy. The bitch should have been, like, fighting, like, some vampires and, like, done something like, and, like, a wave should have splashed up, and then she gets the marks that shows that she can control the element water, because they do tell you, she controls earth, water, fire, and blah, 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 blahs and stuff. And so there should have been moments where those powers started to manifest while in the Fae realm, especially when she's going through these high, intense situations that require her to protect herself, because in standard fantasy novels, when you have a character who doesn't know their magic, who learns their magic, there's ways that manifest. And so far, the only thing she can fucking do is talk to Quicksilver, but she's been in all of these situations where powers should have manifested.
Yeah.
Why didn't it?
I just... The marks coming from him, I did not like. It was... I also didn't like how he talked about her getting her reproductive, or you spayed my mate. Like, why
is that a dog? Is she a cat? Did we just go to the vet? You spayed her. You deserve worse. It's called sterilization when in relevance to people. She is not a dog. I get you took away her free will. She's still not a dog.
It could have been worded better. It was the wording of it that I did not like. I did not like that wording.
Yeah.
Also,
it dehumanizes his mate. And I get they're mates and animals mate, but like...
But why is he more mad than she is?
Right, she's like, bruh, it's just like part of what happens growing up. He's like, and before that, he was even like, I don't want to have children with you. Do you need a tea or a tincture? And she's like, no, I can't have kids. Like, bust up laughing. Like, I can't have kids. I thought you knew that. And he's like, what do you mean you can't have kids? Suddenly mad. Like, what do you want? A baby or no baby? And why the spay? I'm going to spay you later.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound great when it's in relevance
to a person. Fae or not fae.
She's still a person.
And even in the book, she's like, what the fuck did you just say?
Right? Like,
what?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? I got spayed. I'm not an animal. I want to go over some of my highlighted parts I wanted to share with you in a minute.
Okay.
I figured that some of those probably are in relevance to the spaying. Oh, yes. Nothing but good old-fashioned not knowing how to use my phone. Guess what?
I wish I had highlights. I don't highlight my books.
I don't think I highlighted those. Also, I'm very confused where some of my highlighted parts went, because I thought I had a way more highlighted, but Apparently not, because this book wasn't worth highlighting. I did like this little expert here, because right here, it's right before they kiss.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't hate your kind. I'm just disappointed by how breakable you are. If I held you down and fucked you the way I'm imagining fucking you right now, I doubt you'd survive it. And I just...
Boy, we would never know until you did it, though. So just... Honestly, though, if I die because you're fucking me so good, I'm okay with that.
That's like a good death. I don't know why you would think I'm sad. And then, this is actually right around the part we were talking about where she, like, takes off. Because, like, it goes, like, he's like... they're all doing it, and he's like, your body is betraying you in other ways, that I can smell you, little Osha. I'm thinking about drinking the sweet nectar you're making for me straight from the fucking cup, and then they're all making out, and then they're backing off, and she's like, thrum so fast like a hummingbird. Get the fox bite looked at, little Osha. You don't want that arm falling off. Right before my eyes, Fisher dematerialized into a blur of black sand and smoke. And then literally, next page, I'd spent half my life running in Zilverin, running from guardians, the traitors I'd cheated, the people I'd pickpocketed. Not only was I fast as lightning, but I had stamina, which was a damn good thing because I had no idea how far I had to run. Now all I knew was that I had to get there quickly. It wouldn't be long before Kingfisher noticed what I'd done and came looking for me. And that feels like so out of pocket. Like, what did you do? Why are you running? Where are you going?
Like, last time I checked, you all were just making out. Like, you think he's worried that you made his dick hard? Is that why you're trying to run? Like, he's the one who left. Like, I don't think he really cared. Like...
Yeah, and it's just such that leap, because, again, you're going from I just went to the forge, I just want to make out with you a little bit. Oh, no, you can let your friend walk me to my room. Bye!
Like, I just...
Whiplash.
It was whiplash, but also then you find out that when she's at the Quicksilver that he knew the whole time that she wasn't as good at stealing as she thought she was, and that he was just wanting it to play out.
Oh yeah, because what? He said he runs into the she's in the cavern, and she's like, it happened fast. 1 second the pool was solid, the next it was shining banner of liquid silver, glinting as it undulated in torchlight. I said that wrong. A loud hum filled my ears, unnatural and discordant. And then she's about to go through it, and then the tip of my silver kissed the silver, but before I could step forward, a small wall of shifting, glittering black sand slammed into me, knocking me back. And so he just shows up so suddenly like that, and then he's like, I'm hurt, leaving without saying goodbye. She's like, I propped myself up on one elbow, then managed to sit up, wincing at the sharp bolt of pain that fired through my side. I don't owe you a goodbye. I don't owe you anything. And he just goes, you owe me your life.
Which I'm also like, but she really doesn't, because then you find out that he was stuck in that Coliseum for all those years, and she opens the Quicksilver, which is what allows him to get out of that without being hurt by Malcolm. So really, who owes who here? Who owes who? Like, yes, you saved her from her gut wound, and you took her to the Fey realm and healed her, but it was all for nefarious purposes. Like, you did that all for your own, like, you didn't save her out of the kindness of your heart, which I get, no one really does. But then to just be like, you owe me your life. Like, bitch, alright, let me die.
And then he strikes the oath bond with her, and he's like, alright, I'll go get your brother for you. I'll go back and get your brother for you. But then you have to do I'll try to go get your brother for you. But then you have to do anything I say without question, no matter what. And she's just like, okay!
Like, doesn't even think up through, like, all the what could happen from there. And then how he uses that, like, you're gonna stay in my bed for a week.
You're not allowed out of my bed except to relieve yourself.
The way I would have pissed in that man's bed if that was me. I'm just saying.
The way I would have fucked Carrie and Swift in that man's bed. I mean, the way I'd fuck Carrie and Swift.
But just the absolute way I would ruin his bed for him for eternity. You're going to demand I stay here for a week. You're going to regret that. You're going to regret that demand.
I'm peeing in the bed. I'm pooping in the bed.
I'm fucking in your bed.
I'm fucking in your bed. I'm rubbing my food into the bed. I'm not even eating it. You know, I'm just rubbing it everywhere. I'm gonna make sure that by the time you come back, I got like pizza crust stuck in here.
This is why I wouldn't be a main character though, because I'm petty. Because also, you told me I can only leave the bed to relieve myself. All right. I ain't eating. I ain't drinking. You didn't tell me I needed to eat or drink. The way you're going to come back to my dead body. Bitch, right. I'm dead.
I'm going to die out of spite. That's how petty I am.
Like, also, I don't even think we would have made it that far, because I would have been in Malcolm's castle, and he would have told me, you know, now that you're here in my court, I am your king, and you're going to do everything
I would have been dead.
Or I'm going to kill you. The way I would have looked at that man and been like, look, I left one fucking dictator. You think I'm coming for another one? Kill me now. Kill me where I stand. I don't give a shit.
Right.
I'm away from all my loved ones, and you're saying
you just said they died.
You're telling me everyone I love is dead, and I can never go home. Bitch, I don't want to live anymore. Send me home. The only thing getting me through my day-to-day life was my loved ones, and now they're gone.
Exactly.
If you don't kill me, I'm gonna kill me. So,
like, bye. See you later. You know.
He's like, you're gonna make these relics for us. Bitch, I'm gonna die. That's what I'm gonna do. What are you gonna do? Strap me to your forge?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no. I guess I'm gonna sit here.
Guess I'm gonna throw myself in a really fucking hot oven and take a nice hot sun bath to eternity. Do you know how hot a forge is? Do you know how many sharp things are in there? Trap me in here. Trap me in here. You know what they're going to call it by the time I'm done? The suicide room. It's a murder box. Think Futurama on the side of the street. You know, one of those little suicide machines. Here, I'll leave a quarter behind for you.
I'll leave you a handwritten note of why you shouldn't have.
Here's a tip.
Next time you want somebody to do what you want, don't tell them.
Try asking,
but also don't tell them everyone they love is dead.
Maybe, yeah, you know what I mean? The amount of stuff bad guys do in books that I'm like, you realize if, like, you got, like, 2% better at acting and we're just like, oh, yeah, if you do this for me, I'll bring over anyone you love and care about to our realm. I'm going to get you a fat house with a big mansion, tons of money. And you know what? I hear you have water problems. I'm going to get you a waterfall running constantly in your house. You'll never have to worry about water again. Why don't you make relics for me? I will save everyone you care about, and I'll kill Madra just for fun because she stabbed the quicksilver. And you could be lying out your she don't know you. She don't know nothing. All you have to do is pretend to be nice. Rein in the crazy in front of her. She don't know no one. She don't know nothing. You're locking her in a room all the time. Just be nice.
Yeah.
Little niceness. I'd make some relics. You know, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Depends how creepy you look at the end of the day, you know?
Depends on how much you actually start following through on what you said, because I'm going to wait till at least one of my loved ones gets there before I start doing shit.
No, one loved one and a sack of gold.
You got to follow through a little bit before I'm like, okay.
One small pond first, please.
This would be me. I'd be like, oh, you want a relic? I need a loved one. They'd bring me a loved one, and I'd give them one relic. And then I'd be like, oh, you need another relic? I need another loved one.
Oh, yeah, see, but Kingfisher needs 15,000 relics. You don't know 15,000 people.
The way that man would start giving me money. Oh, you need another relic? I need another mansion.
Cash.
I need more water.
Just a little money dance.
Like, make it worth my while. I don't even care, like, because also, I'm not from this world. I should give a shit about your politics and your war. I don't. So who's ever going to pay me the most money and give me what I want at the end of the day, like, here, you can have this piece of land. Here's a nice house. It's bordered by water. Here's all your loved ones.
Here's a castle.
Bitch, bet. Okay, I'll make you whatever
the fuck expensive. I want nice things. Give me a gold tub.
I'll make you whatever you want. Oh, here's all the books you could ever want.
Oh, well, right there. One book per relic. I'm good.
Right? Like,
that's a deal. Screw my loved ones.
I need at least one loved one.
I can make new ones in the books that I read.
Yeah, but I would at least want a couple of my besties that I could bullshit with.
We would already be there together.
Okay, but what if we weren't? I'm gonna at least need you.
Yeah, see, but that wouldn't happen.
You're like, we're attached at the hip. We ain't going nowhere without each other.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I'm just...
The way I would look at them and be like, oh, wow, you really want me to make more relics? You know what makes me make more relics? My friends. Having somebody
I was going to say orgasms.
That too. But also somebody I can bullshit with while I'm making these relics would make... I might make you a few more.
That's why carrying was needed.
Yeah.
He carried that whole book. He carries the whole book.
He's also the one who figured out how to use the quicksilver, really. I mean, it was his idea to just fucking talk to it. Right. So, I mean...
He literally goes, have you tried talking to it? She goes, fuck you, Carrie Swift.
That's a stupid idea.
That's a stupid idea. Literally try to say, oh, yeah, you know what? Sing us a song. Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll enchant relics. In fact, we'll make you a god sword. Those have been gone for a really long time. Now you can have one again. All you had to do was talk to me. You know, that's how I feel sometimes when I'm trying to get some attention. I'll do anything for you if you just talk to me.
You know what? The Quicksilver had 1,000 years without an alchemist. It was probably lonely. Okay?
Oh, yeah, I'd be desperate. Sing to me. Talk to me. It's like saying to me, tell me jokes. Tell me secrets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, I got you, bestie.
It just wanted a friend, okay?
It's a GBF.
Yeah, it was lonely. It just wanted somebody to entertain it, which you know what? If
I could totally get that.
Stuck alone with my thoughts for 1,000 years, the way I would be like...
Well, I'd be fucking dead.
You're a piece of metal. You're already dead. Your soul's just trapped.
That's a piece of sentient metal that gods apparently put their fingers in, by the way. None of that translated, but there's a river that flows into a tree, and this god sits here with his 2 daughters and fondles it. And talks to people through it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
That's some god ooze. You know?
I know.
It only talks to special humans. That sounds like some demigod level shit.
Either way, she also her whole thing was that she'd only be willing to do things for her brother because she's so she watched her mom die. The only people she has are her brother
and Elroy.
Which I get, she did constantly still bring him up. I understand, but you got so much leverage here. You are the only alchemist they have seen in 1,000 years.
And you're the strongest one ever, and she acts like she doesn't have incentive.
The way I would have sat down on that throne room and been like, I ain't moving until you give me
These are my terms and my conditions. Otherwise, I will legitimately go upstairs and kill myself. You think you can make my life miserable? Can you make it more miserable than spending my whole life starving? I watched my own mom get murdered in front of me in the streets. And then my community members spit and piss on her.
I shouldn't laugh.
You know? And you think you can make my life worse? It's kind of like how I used to see dudes sometimes. He'd be like, do you think you're scary? I'm like, have you met my mother? She was terrifying. You're not scary. That's the kind of vibe that gave.
Also, she's already almost died once. So I'd be sitting here like, look, I already know what it's like to die.
I got gutted like a fish moments before arriving here.
Like, the way I would sit down and be like, I'm going to give you 1 week, because that's how long it takes for me to starve to death. So you have 1 week to convince me that you're going to go get my brother and you're going to do all my terms and conditions, or I'm not eating a scrap of food, and you're going to watch me slowly die.
Just like... You all keep reminding us how fragile, how breakable humans are. Do you see how many stone stairs you got in this place? I'm
just going to fall down a few real quick.
Just, whoop.
Oh no, this really high window. It's 3 stories up. What shall I... Oh no, I'm clumsy.
I fell. You have me in the tallest tower. In the highest room. High above everything. So you're really sure I can't escape anywhere. But this window, sure it looks unlocked.
And unguarded.
I'm gonna just, whoop! So I'm gonna go skydiving before I leave this plane.
And I only say that because sometimes you can tell in a book the main character might not be as,
needed. Wanted.
So, no.
Valuable. Likeable.
On the, like, mentally ill side of things. But she dead-ass watched her mother die and get pissed on and spit on. Like,
she's clearly fucked up. She literally thought stealing a gold armlet or silver gauntlet or whatever from a guard and scaling a wall was a smart idea, and then was like wholeheartedly shocked when that ended up to her getting arrested.
She was, I mean, given if she had been able to melt that down, but, you know, if it wasn't in her bag and her brother hadn't tried to sell it, things probably wouldn't have been.
What a dumb brother. Why would you want such a dumbass with you in a place that everybody's not very helpful? Oh, my brother has a gambling addiction and likes to try to get himself killed all the time. You know what? Go get him. Bring him here. Lots of murderous people here. I'm sure he'll end up fine. Dead.
But fine.
But fine. At least I won't have to worry about him anymore because he'll be 6 feet under.
Yeah. At least she'll be able to visit his grave and not have to travel through the quicksilver to get to it all the time.
True.
You know, there is that.
At least with him in one realm and her in another, she could just pretend that he's still alive.
That's true. But
you know.
Either way, for somebody who's went through all this trauma, and also when she was in Madra's castle, was prepared to kind of die.
She was already trying to kill herself, and she's still like...
She really
I'm not going to threaten these people.
She really just didn't play that card really well, I feel like. Like, there was something there. I don't know what that says about my mental health that my go-to to get my way is apparently to be like, hey, oh, you really need me? Well,
if I was like one of a kind, never been seen before, I have all the special powers and I'm super unique and all of this special powered girly in a novel. And they were like, either you do this for me or I'll torture you, but your whole family's dead and everything you've ever cared about is gone. I would be like, I'ma just not exist anymore. What do you mean not exist? I'm literally going to kill myself. You have no incentives for me. I am incentive based.
Also, what you just offered me sounded terrible.
Make all these relics, and he's like, make all these relics for me, and I might be nice to you and let you live.
Oh, I'm getting there. I'm laying in. No one gives a shit. I mean, people do give a shit, but, like, that's not...
You know, it's just, like... It's frustrating because, like, the book has the good foundations. It has the potential to be a really good book. And it does have really good parts. I like Kingfisher's personality as throughout the book he becomes, like, a really lovable, like... judgmental asshole, but still, like, lovable.
Because, like, this is his thing. He's like, there's rules to this kingdom, rules that will be obeyed. You're about to spend a great deal of time in the libraries learning about our ways, and willful infraction of our laws will be dealt with swiftly. Now you are brought here to fulfill a specific task. You'll complete that task quickly and efficient. And, like, then, you know, she gets into that whole thing. She's like, what do you mean about task? You know, she wanted answers, blah, 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 interrupts him. He's not happy about that. She's like, I was carried here against my will. How do you... He's like, if you'd been left where you found, it would have cost you your life. Yeah, bitch, I know. I would have been fine with that. You're telling me I gotta do a task and you won't even tell me what my task is, and you think I'm gonna say, you got me messed up. And then she's like, I need to go back to my brother, and he's like, oh, he's already dead. That bitch queen put it into your home and all of those who resided in it. Wow, you're really making a case here for me.
Also, how does he know that? That's a big clue right there. How would he know those things? If nobody can go through the quicksilver but her, it speaks to a back door. Where's the back door?
Also, he was like, and then she interrupts me, and he's like, you will not interrupt me a second time. You're charged with awakening the quicksilver and reopening the pathways between this world and others. Your cooperation in that task will dictate how you spend your times in Yulvia. Rail against your purpose, and life within the walls of this palace will become infinitely more uncomfortable for you. Bitch, can't be more uncomfortable if I'm dead. You seem to need these pathways more than I seem to need to stay alive, so...
Bye, 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 bye.
Like...
Bye.
And then with, like, a bored flick, he's like, you're dismissed now. The way that man would have dismissed me like that, and I would have looked at him...
I would have just laid down on the floor.
I would have just slowly crept down onto the floor, laid there staring, and been like, so you're telling me not only do I have to do something for you and not get compensated for it, because it's my task, and if you're going to treat me nice and give me water and food, I have to do it. No. I also have to learn all your ways and customs with also no compensation. Like, bitch, I didn't ask to be brought here. You just brought me
like,
here.
they're making it seem like she traveled there free of will, just walked into their house and was like, what's up? And didn't get taken there while she was literally dying and then saved. And then is being forced to be there.
Yeah.
You know.
I feel like there are certain things that, like, if it just... She really didn't seem to advocate all that well for herself once she got into the
No, she's like, I'm this big badass. Oh, wait, no, I'm a scared little girl. Help me.
And I just really wish
What's going on?
I just really wish she put up more of a fight of not building anything in the beginning, at least. And, like, had something that, like, actually was dangled over her that forced her to actually do what the king wanted or fall into line. Because everything that led up to, you know, her trying to run away from Fisher, and then Fisher doing the blood oath, and then Fisher stealing her, and I kind of get why she did things, because she had the blood oath when she was with Fisher. She didn't really have a choice on doing what he said. But that beginning part with the king, I'm literally like...
Why?
Like, why did you even go into the forge? Why did you even go to the library? Like, the way I would have locked myself in that room... They would have put me in that room, and then they would have shown up and been like, okay, we're here to take you to the library.
And I would have been dead.
You're going to drag me to that library.
Kicking, screaming, biting, peeing on you.
Like, you're going to force me there, and then what are you going to do? You're going to force me to read? Because you're going to get me there, and I'm not going to move a muscle. You're going to have to read to me about your customs.
Yeah, because the only thing I'm picking up is smut.
But I ain't picking up your history lessons. I ain't picking up your rules. I
was like...
And then after that, you're going to drag me to the forge. Exactly. I ain't going there willing.
And then I'm going to just sit there.
I also don't like how he just put the quicksilver, like, in her hand at the forge.
Oh, God, like, yeah.
What's it called? What's it saying?
Yeah, it just... Like, couldn't it even be like, okay, we're going to do a test with some quicksilver. No, I'm just going to, like, low-key torture you in small bits, but then later be like, it's because I was just so attracted to you. And I get it's enemies to lovers, but enemies to lovers is not supposed to make, you know, the main male character so unlikable that you struggle to like him. And at the rate they were going at the beginning of the book, they were really dancing that fine line, you know, with taking away of the free will and the, like... semi-questionable things. It does get better once he's, like, admits he actually likes her, but, like...
But I think it's also because you didn't get enough tension from him. Because I could totally get behind...
It was all hate.
I can get behind a dark, morally gray person who takes away her free will and does all that. I've read some pretty dark shit.
But there's
always that tension. Like, where he at least is, like...
flirting with her a little bit. Making her question his motives.
As much as he's taking all that away, he's like, but no one else will. Only me. And if anybody else hurts you, I'm going to kill them.
And he almost seems like borderline okay if she gets murdered.
Yeah. I mean, a little. I mean, there's times where he's like, oh my God, okay, great, you're okay. But
yeah,
like, also
later.
But like in the beginning, he seems way more like, oh, I just need
Well, yeah, that's why I said in my notes here, I said slow burn, more like no burn than all burn. Because it's like there's almost no chemistry, and then all of a sudden they're just fucking. And it's very...
I did like the moment of them when they were in his, like, mom's home city area and the house, and, like, she was telling him about the childhood and telling him about his mom. I did like how they had that emotional connection in that scene.
Yeah.
I thought that was really nice.
You kind of need more moments of that. There was a lot of action packed in, and there was, like, stuff, but there wasn't, like, those moments where, like, maybe she's having a nightmare and he busts into the room because, like, he hears her screaming and then helps her settle down. And then, like, in the morning, he's gone and treating her like garbage again. But then, like, later that day, she burns her hand and he treats it for her while looking at her with love and care while also calling her a fucking stupid idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Chemistry that lets you know that while he's being a dick, he's only being a dick because he likes you that much. You know?
Or he's, like, trying to keep you at arm's length, you know?
Exactly.
Or, like, if he had treated her like that in front of other people, but then was kind of nice to her behind closed doors when it was just the two of them.
He was almost worse to her when other people couldn't watch.
Just a little.
You know? Oh, my goodness. It's like in front of people, he would even be caught smiling at her and looking at her with care, and then the second they're alone, he's like glaring at her. Shut up, take a bath, do this, do that. I don't like you, I can fuck you and hate you at the same time. I wish. It kind of just feels like you're gaslighting me into feelings. I feel a little whiplash.
Yeah. There was some stuff, and I do get, like, Avenger when he's like, oh, it's because you were my mate, and I was trying to push you away, like, I didn't want to recognize the bond. Okay, then why'd you fuck her?
I just needed a little, just a minute, just a tap.
Like, you gotta, you...
Strike the deal, pay the price of writing this wiener. That's what it felt like.
I really hope book 2 is better. I honestly do. I feel like if
this book made me have to read a reverse harem novel like crack to make up for the lack of smut. Had to watch a gangbang real quick behind my eyes. Just to find some chemistry.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I feel like if book 2 starts to answer lots of questions, like, and the god's role gets put in, and there's more details, and, like, it's... I also feel like the pacing I feel like the book itself could have been structured better from, like, beginning, middle to end.
Did you feel like you're getting slow stroked and then ground into eternity really quickly? Because that's kind of what it felt like to me. Here, I'm going to go nice and slow. No, I'm a jackrabbit!
So I really hope book 2 is better. I feel like if book 2 is the same as this book, I don't know if I'll be continuing the series, though.
Yeah.
I have so many books that I need to read that I own that I haven't got into that I just...
That TBR pile big.
And this...
It just wasn't engaging enough. It was overall too slow, then too rushed, not enough chemistry. It was good comedy relief with Carrion, good weapon and fight scenes, good details, but not well written. You know, the male-female character was really dense.
And I feel like when it comes to details, the fight scenes had good details, but I wish, like, where she was at had better details.
Yeah, like when we're in the forge and we're just, like, going through the mundane, everyday stuff.
Yeah, like, I wish that aspect had been detailed a little bit better. I also don't like how there would be, like, skips in time, really. Like, he told her to sit in the bed for a week. And that's kind of just glossed over. Like, that whole week is just kind of...
Yeah, she's like, oh, I did this, and this.
Like, Harry came and visited me.
Oh, I'm in the forge every day, but I can barely tell you what the layout is. And that's actually something that really bothered me, is I have not really ever read a book where the female main character was like something like a blacksmith. And you have a female main character that's a blacksmith, and they're giving some of the details, like when she's making the god sword, they're giving you some details. But the details are just vague enough that I couldn't actually picture what it looked like to have somebody blacksmithing. And a book needs enough details for something like that, that you could actually maybe picture the activity happening. And I was just kind of like, okay. Is she hammering it in the fire? Is there like a special bench? They're talking about her layering it. They're giving details, but not enough details that I could actually get myself from A to B.
I've seen enough videos on how people do it, so I kind of knew. But I feel like if I hadn't watched videos on people making swords,
but it's like different when you're making fancy, high engraved. Like they're talking about how she's layering it, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, I hand carved writing into the blade.
When?
Probably
when it was hot, but like still.
But yeah, but like that's a point that can be described. While the blade was burning with red, I took out the whatever the fucking tool is that you would use to write on a sword, and I precariously carved in blah, 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 blah into it. You know, having to heat and reheat the metal over and over again in order to make sure that the lettering was well put and blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't that. It was like, oh, yeah, by the way, at this, I carved this in.
By the way, here's your sword.
You know, just very jump to it. Not a lot of, like... You know, it's like what I was saying is the main character kind of suffered from Katniss Everdeen syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
You know, oh, nobody where I grew up loves or cares about me. All they cared about is my mom because she did all this really great stuff. But, like, oh, all of these people helped take care and raise me, and none of them will really ever miss me. And she has that mindset with anyone who meets me. Oh, they don't value me. They don't care about me. I'm just a tool. I'm just this, never really seeing your true self, which means you don't really get the opportunity to rise to your true potential with the gifts that were bestowed upon you, whether it's Katniss Everdeen with her bow and her arrow and her own convictions. She still talks about the people who are supposed to care about her like they don't. Oh, they only do because of who my dad was. And the main character for this book, what is it? Saeris. Anyways, she has the same mentality. Oh, no one cares about me. No one gives a shit about me. Yet, all of these people in my life, the second I put myself in a dangerous situation, tried to help make sure I didn't get arrested. And I didn't listen to them and I got arrested.
I think, like, overall, like, kind of ending thoughts is I expected more from this book, especially with how popular it was on, like, Book Talk and stuff, and how much people were hyping this book up. I thought it would be a better read. Like, I think if I went into this book not expecting it to be a good book, I wouldn't have had so many criticisms for it, but I went into it with people saying, oh, it's so amazing, it's so good, it you know, it captivates you. And I felt whole forced. Time I'm reading it, I'm just like, where's the detail? Where's the captivating?
It felt like taking in sound without actually hearing.
And so, like, I feel like for this one, it wasn't worth the hype for me.
Yeah.
Personally, like...
When you see something like best-selling author or New York Times best-selling list or anything like that... on a book, you expect so much more, and when it doesn't quite hit that mark, it makes you wonder how it got that best-selling author, banner on the book, especially when you've seen it popular on social media. It's like, how? And it does really show that not every book that makes it on those lists is there for the right reasons, because 100,000 people could be like, oh, I love this book on TikTok, but... that doesn't... 100,000 people is really small in the grand scheme of people on this planet.
I wanted more. It didn't quite deliver more. But it delivered enough that I'm going to read book 2.
Yeah.
Mainly because I want to know...
I'll read book 2.
Because if this is just a setup for a series, it
has the potential to be really good setup. The whole problem
is... It has the potential to change my mind about how good this book is, depending on how book 2 goes.
Yeah.
But if book 2 doesn't go great, I think my opinion currently on this book will still
would probably
stand.
go down. Oh, no, mine will go down. It might go up. If book 2 is better, it'll go up. But if book 2 is the same pacing as book 1, absolutely not. I would rate this one lower.
That's fair.
Part of what gives this its rating is that it feels like really good setup for a beautiful world, like it could be. But if book 2 doesn't expand on that feeling, it's gotta go down. It might go up a little bit if book 2 is better, but if it's not, that's...
Because I do think like, if the overall series ends up being really good detail and really well written, I can overlook some of this first book's criticisms in the grand scheme of things. But it's really going to depend on what she does in future books and what it turns into. Because
very good potential for future books.
Yes, but if this were to be like a standalone book, I wouldn't.
Oh God, no! I
wouldn't read it.
If this was a standalone, I would have thrown it away. I would have burned it. I would have asked to burn your copy.
Which is why, right now, I don't even really want to recommend people to read this book until I read book 2, because if book 2 isn't better, this would not be a book I would really recommend being read.
I could recommend it for being read if you are a reader who does not particularly enjoy high detailed novels. If you like something where you are able to make pictures in your head fairly easy from your own imagination, this could be a really easy read for somebody who is really good at kind of doing that with like without assistance as much, and you can just kind of build whatever world in your head based on a few details. This would be really good for someone like that. It is not very good for your I can pound out multiple books in a week, or I like a lot of details in my book reader. And that's what's really difficult about it, is it is probably really good for those not as experienced or avid readers. Whereas if you are an avid daily reader, this is probably not a book for you. I would not recommend it to someone I know who reads all the time. I would probably recommend it to like my sister or something who doesn't read often.
I've read some books that really don't have a lot of detail. I like high fantasy, I like low fantasy. I read a wide genre. My issue is just for how big the book is. If I'm going to read like 650 pages,
I need more detail.
And I feel like that's part of the reason why I said I wouldn't recommend it. It's just, for a low detail book, I would rather recommend like a 300 page
Yeah,
book.
that's
like
why I said I think if it had wrapped up when Everlane got taken, which I think was closer to 400 pages, that it would have made it perfect.
Which I would have been more willing to recommend it then for somebody who like maybe wasn't an avid reader, but it's just because of how big this book and how many pages it is, and with kind of that lower detail, I can't see somebody who's not as big of a reader wanting to pick up such a big book.
No, I will say, I mean, the benefit is when it is on Kindle, it does come out a little bit longer, but because it's on Kindle and how you pay for Kindle, it's really easy to just kind of have your place marked and walk away from it and come back. So, I mean, that is a benefit. It is a book that is also available on Kindle, and you can read it for free without having to buy it, which is probably one of the reasons I'd recommend reading it, is you can read it for that cheap price of $11.99 a month for Kindle. It's a free book!
Yeah, I think if you already have Kindle and you wanted to try it, it's worth it. Overall, I wouldn't buy the physical copy.
Yeah. No, not worth the cost of a physical copy. Definitely worth the cost of reading for free. And I think that would be the big determining factor, is if you can read it for free, you absolutely probably should. The world is interesting enough that if book 2 is good, it'll be a beautiful world to go into. If you cannot read it for free, maybe just buy something else in general.
I would buy something else if I couldn't read it for free. I don't think I would buy this book again.
No. I don't think I would reread it. I think even when number 2 comes out, I'm going to just swing ball right into it without rereading. Normally I would reread a book prior to the new release.
If I was to reread anything, I would reread like the last chapter or 2. Yeah. If anything. And even then, I probably won't. I will probably just go straight into book 2.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall for me, 2.5 out of 5 stars. Wouldn't recommend it. Possibly would if book 2 is good, but I don't have the highest of hopes for book 2.
Yeah, I'm about the same. I'm 3 stars. I'm holding out until book 2 is here, just because I do want to give it a fair chance to get better. I want to give it that.
But I mean, I'm not afraid to DNF a book, so. Oh, no. I read so many books. I DNF garbage literature so hard.
Hard time.
It's part of the curse of reading like 5 or 6 books at once. Sometimes you just find straight fucking garbage. Throw it away. Dumpster fire all the way.
But yeah, so I feel like that is kind of how I feel about this book. I'm going to hold out until book 2. It wasn't for me. You know what, reading is subjective at the end of the day, and I do get that people did like this book, and that is fair, and that is valid, and that's completely okay. For me, though, it wasn't my cup of tea.
Not for me. I can see how it is for some readers. I can definitely see where other people would really enjoy it, and I think, if it sounds interesting, absolutely give it an opportunity, give it a chance, but, I mean, overall, I feel like we could have picked a better first book.
I know. The whole time I was reading this, I was just like, I'm going to have to talk about this book, and I don't really even know what to say about a book. And it wasn't even just that, because if a book's really bad, I can sit here and just trash talk that book.
But I wanted to be kind to our first book. I really wanted to try to be as kind to it as I could. I did too,
but I also, it was middle of the road. I think that was my issue with this book. It was so middle of the road. There wasn't really anything really great about it that I could latch onto that I wanted to really talk about. And there wasn't anything really, really bad that I was like, wow, I really want to talk about this because it's so bad. Like, it was so middle of the road that I have just been sitting here like, I don't know how I'm going to talk about this book because I don't have any strong emotions about this book either which way. And I think that's what makes it hard, is that it's just so bland.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's book 1, Quicksilver by Callie Hart, resting at over 600 pages.